For decades, the internet was built around exploration, links leading to other links in a vast network of human knowledge. But that model is rapidly changing as search engines become answer engines, with AI systems generating responses instead of sending users to websites. And as publishers and creators lose traffic, a deeper question emerges. If AI becomes the primary interface to information, does the open web slowly disappear? In this episode of The Rundown, we're going to explore whether we're witnessing the beginning of the end of the internet as we've known it. Let's get started.
Maybe.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. How are you? Can't hear me?
We can now.
You can
I think
now,
we can.
kind of little.
Very low.
It's very low. I wonder if
It's not low on YouTube, if that makes you feel better.
It does.
You're loud and clear there, as far as I
have
could tell
noise
when I
removal.
did a little
think
check.
I think all of you are just crazy. That's what I
Did,
think.
did you just call us
I
noise?
did.
He called us crazy.
Here's how
David's
I
talking to
a mic
himself.
check, so there you go.
Here's, I didn't
That's
do a mic check.
Mr.
Sorry about
Noise
that.
to you.
Here, let me bring. I'll listen to myself while I. Can you hear me now?
David's basically talking to himself because we're all off screen.
Yes, I'm just talking to myself. Okay.
We're just here to watch.
Okay, everyone be quiet. I'm checking my levels. I'm at 21. I think I'm okay. 22, 23, 24, 24. Yeah, I'm fine. Whatever. Maybe I'm not. I don't even care. Hi, everyone. So here's how I wanted to start this week before I introduce our esteemed panel. I wanted to say that in a world on fire, it can sometimes seem trivial to talk about gadgets and toys and things like that. And I think that in part, the reason why I was really excited to do a show like this is precisely because technology isn't trivial. Okay, having the latest phone, maybe. But technology writ large, the way it is impacting our world and changing our world really matters. And so even in this moment, when at least I'm feeling like the world is on fire a little bit, I'm really, really honored and blessed to be able to spend the next hour or so with these 5 amazing friends of mine who love to talk about what really isn't trivial whatsoever. Friends like Tamara. How are you, Tamara?
Hello. We just love to talk, right?
That's pretty much what it is. And we love to hear ourselves talk, don't we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And talking about tech is just even better.
And Andre is saying I'm too quiet on YouTube as well, so I just turned it up. Guys, keep me honest. If you're listening on YouTube, let me know if that's any better. Good to see you here. Thanks for being here, Tamara.
It's good to be here.
Yeah. Brother Tony, how you doing, sir?
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I was excited about last night's show. As soon as I started watching, I Googled the company. That's a significant company he has there. I mean,
Yes, it is.
I wasn't expecting that. Lots of employees and lots of great work. It's very cool.
Yes. Yes.
Very, very good.
And he's a good person.
Oh,
On top of that.
Yeah. Most important thing. Here's another good person. Hi, Lois.
And I get to say on our May radio show, and it's a bright, beautiful, sunny day in Davis. And I get to say that for the next 5 months.
It's preordained that every
It doesn't
day.
rain here in the summer. And maybe we'll have one more storm, but I'm not so sure.
Oh, you're lucky. I love it. I love it. Dave, you keeping warm?
It's been very nice here, actually. I was able to go out and have lunch for somebody today and not skid all over the road. So, it's getting a whole lot better.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
And I'm glad to be here too, because I love hearing all these people talk.
I absolutely love hearing all these people talk. David, I'm still lower than the rest and have a strange hum on your mic. Yeah, that's my air conditioning when I'm speaking. Sorry.
Yeah,
That's
he's
my
the background
AC.
blocker.
I will turn up my Watch this. I'm gonna fix it on the fly. I'm going up to 60. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking it to 11.
Go to 11. Just
I'm
put
taking
it to 11. There you go.
Hey Sky, let's keep talking. See what they say about me on YouTube. Man. Oh, is that the strange hum? That's
now you've got a hum on your panel.
That's the strange hum on my microphone.
That's
Gotcha.
Mr. Strange. Come on, be respectful.
It's Dr. Strange.
Well, next year when I can, print out my own, sheepskin. Sorry, I riff roll, baby.
Let's.
We were going so well.
Let's jump right into the news. Let's save ourselves.
Please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey everyone. So you remember Moltbook that we talked about?
Oh, that was so last week.
It was so last week.
2 weeks ago.
It's this week again. So for those of you who don't remember, we had this open claw, which then became. Was that the first name? Was open? No.
Yes.
No.
Open claw.
No, it was
in a matter of hours.
Claude Book bought something. Then it became Molten Lava Claw or something. Then it became open. I don't remember. I think now it's Open Claw. In any case, as soon as that was born, something called Moltbook became a thing. Two guys started this social media network for bots, for AI bots. Matt Schlitt and Ben Parr have just been, I don't know if it's an acquired or an acqui-hired, but they are joining Meta. They're joining Facebook. We don't know the purchase price, but they are joining Meta Superintelligence Labs, which is led by Alexander Wang. Wow. So on Moltbook, for those of you who have not visited it, which I have not either, it's a social platform for autonomous AI agents where they can verify their identity, connect with other agents, share information, coordinate tasks on behalf of the human owners. And the platform functions as a registry. This we looked at together a couple of shows ago of how sort of humans can, I guess, hire bots. Or no, it was the other way around.
Bots can hire humans.
Sorry, how bots can hire the humans, right? So, wow. I mean, this is, my first thought was, holy mackerel, we're doubling down on social media sites for non-human things? Like, why is, what is, I don't understand what Meta sees in this. It's cool, don't get me wrong. But
it feels like an addition to the marketplace, right? I mean, that seems to be the connective piece for them.
What do you mean? So like so actually hire? Like,
I mean, listen, I think
hired.
I think Meta has always been kind of acquiring the next cool thing, and whether or not they use it or let it go is not is different from thing to thing that they kind of acquire and purchase. So it doesn't surprise me that Meta acquired it. It just is another example of like, these things are being acquired by people who are maybe not as trustworthy as I want them to be with the particular thing that they're acquiring. I don't know who I would want to acquire that, but like at the same time, I think it speaks to the projection of how important this is going to be. And how like important that, we don't really even know now who owns what, and all of those things are still being decided because this is so brand new that, if this is another species, then is there going to be a Facebook for this bot group? And what does that look like? And it seems to me like that would be exactly why someone like Meta would suck them up.
Well, and market dominance, again, we're at the beginning of this revolution. And consequently, somebody wants to be the only platform out there. So again, these companies at that size would pick up all the little companies to either squish them or modify them and put them into their homogenous, bigger systems. But you were never paying attention because we weren't in an information age that you knew about this kind of a, market stuff going on. And looks like Troutman has a thought on that one. So either tell me I'm lying or confirm that I'm not crazy.
In the .com, people were building companies with the potential of growth and implications, and then and selling them off to the big boys. And they made their fortune selling things to the big boys. And it may be that Maltbook has seen the future and said, we can't sustain this. It'll be far too popular. We can't monetize it the way we want to, but maybe Meta can. And Meta is a model for monetizing anything. And so, yeah, I think that's why it was picked up, is that the Meta can see that it can fit into their kind of plans for monetizing and owning everything.
So according
And
to
maybe Maltbook can't afford to run the servers, so they got to hand it off.
sure, so according to Facebook, excuse me, to Meta, there are three sort of buckets that they're looking at. There's agent identity verification, which I don't fully understand. Agent
That'd
to
be a good
agent
thing.
communication, that makes sense, and
I don't like that
multi-agent-
idea.
and multi-agent coordination. Those seem to be the three areas where Meta thinks that moving. This is all about agentic AI, but allowing the internet to work on its own,
Hopefully cooperatively, yeah.
hopefully cooperatively, right?
I mean, of all the things for Meta to acquire in terms of this AI market, this does make the most amount of sense because it's basically like Facebook for AI. So and
AI book. Yeah.
right. So it's like, of all the pieces of them to kind of put their stamp on and say, let me try to pull this into let me try to get into this game. Like, this is the most obvious thing out there that is actually within their wheelhouse. It looks like, it could be Instagram. It could be this. Like, the things that they acquire that they're successful at are basically this.
Yeah. All right.
Rather than MySpace, it could be faceless space.
Oh,
See what I did there? See,
that was nice.
So
I
frightening.
want a percentage.
Faceless
Well,
space.
I go for bot book.
Bot book.
book.
Nice.
For sure. Absolutely.
Oh,
Dave would.
that you should buy bot. Wait, hold on.
I gotta tell
let's go
you,
quickly.
TM. I'll be right
Botbook.com.
back. I better T.
I'm doing it right. I'm looking for it right now. Let's see, bot.
Oh
Hold
no, Talalek has already got it. I saw that. I saw Talalek. He just went out
Oh,
there.
he's
and
too
snagged
quick.
it.
He probably used an agent to do that.
He did. He has one.
See,
Three
wait,
of them
did I
sitting
give
on
it
his
away?
on his. Yep.
Come on. Oh, it's taken.
5 minutes ago, it was taken.
You don't think it was taken by?
There's a time delay or a warp going on in our world, and it's
you-
the
you
internet.
can
is
write a
I
faster
don't
song
think
than
about
we
it.
Meta
are.
took it. Like,
Oh yeah, that's right. Maybe
I
Meta
was
took it.
thinking.
Exactly.
Bot book. Got it. You got a song there.
We even
Paskin? Come on.
have a song. Absolutely. So the next story is I think I just saw this today. Yeah, it just came out today, and I'm really excited about it. Actually, we'll have to see how it works. This is Google is reimagining maps. So Google has slowly been moving Gemini into all of its services. I would argue not particularly well, but that's just, again, it's always possible it's user error on my part. And they're now bringing it to maps. And this looks like a pretty significant UI change, because now you can say, in fact, I love, wait, where is it? There was a title here somewhere. I'm not seeing it now, where it said basically, you can ask maps now, where is a rest stop close by with clean bathrooms? And because it's aggregating information, but not just traffic information anymore, because it's bringing all this information together, it will be able to respond in human language. And it's also, because of this, these complex questions about locations, not only can you get the personal recommendations, but we're also getting into more intuitive guidance, real-time updates to make driving easier. A lot of the stuff that we've had already in 1.0, I would call it, but now hopefully it's getting even better. I don't know, what's your take on AI kind of creeping in to these tools that we use every day? It's one thing for us to have to go to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini to ask a question. It's a whole other experience, which we've been seeing, for it to be everywhere we are and intimate, or not intimately, but deeply integrated into these tools. I use Google Maps
I wish I could.
every single day.
Wish I could turn it off in the mail. I use Chrome and a Gmail account. And every time I look at a message, there's this banner that goes across the top that says, do you want me to summarize this message? The message is one sentence.
Right.
No, I don't need
Right.
to just summarize it. I want to turn that off. I haven't figured out how to do it.
Yeah.
I'm asking actually, are you able to ask verbally, Google, take me to such and such, or show me the way to?
Yes.
That's what it
So,
says.
You can? Okay.
So here's one example that they give us. Can I blow this up? I wonder.
Well, before Gemini, were you able to ask Google verbally? Like, could you turn it on and say, I need to know how to get to so-and-so? Because I know I can do that. I can do that with Siri. I can say
Yes.
to Siri, show me the way to Chilliwack, BC.
I
And
know,
it
wait, I'm
routes me.
opening it
And
right
then
now.
it says, do you want to go? And I go, yes. And then
I mean,
it
yeah,
starts.
there's a
That's hands-off kind of thing.
hey,
And that's built
Google,
into the map. That's
take me
not a
to
Google thing.
the
iOS
closest
and
you
that, yeah.
Chinese
know the
restaurant.
way to chill.
All right, hold on. I'm doing it right now. Yeah. So I just said to Google, the old Google on my phone here, I just said, hey, Google, in Google Maps, take me. No, I'm not talking to you anymore. Take me to the closest Chinese restaurant. It found one 5 minutes away from me. It's a pretty
Okay,
good
so
one.
it is in
And then-
there
yeah.
already.
Right.
So this is an easy integration. It just gives you the power of Gemini to do the same thing, but give you more detail.
Well,
And you can probably
but
find
that's
out
the thing.
who the owner of the restaurant is from
Right.
Gemini. Yeah.
Right. So that's the thing.
That's-
So if you look here, look at this one, right? So you can, and this is all happening right within Maps, right? So ask Maps. You can put your question. My friends are coming from Midtown East to meet me after work. Any spots with a cozy aesthetic and table for 4 at 7 tonight? It finds,
You follow up
you know
with a
what?
booking. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is not,
That'd be-
this is
What I
just,
want,
this is just Gemini. This is not, I mean, yeah, it has the map, but I mean,
the maps are in there.
this
yeah.
is
Right.
But most
basically-
websites have a map too. Yeah.
and it's
Is-
you can do the booking here also. This is basically, you know what this is? Sorry, this is you don't have
It's
to
an
go to the
entry
Gemini
point,
app
isn't it?
anymore. They're just putting the Gemini app and everything. This is
Right.
actually
And
unique to
every
Maps.
Google app, it will be an entry
Right.
point to Gemini.
but it's
and
not
for
you.
different
But
reasons.
but I
of
don't
using.
see yet how this is unique to Maps, and that's what I was excited about.
The thing
the
is,
maps
what I-
Sorry,
Oh, go
Lois,
ahead.
go ahead.
Is the maps that Apple uses, like on my phone, that maps, is that the same as a Google Maps? That's a different
No.
map.
It's exactly the same, but different in some ways.
Well,
Yeah.
wait.
right, different
So-
interfaces.
Wait, Apple Maps?
Yeah,
Yes.
No, they're
It integrates with Siri. It integrates with.
but it's
text.
not a
They're-
Google Map.
no,
That's
they're
the whole
completely
point.
different.
Okay,
Right.
so then
How do you
on
mean different?
Apple Maps, I have been able to do what you're just doing all the time. I say, show me a nearby restaurant, and it does it, and I scroll down, and I can go and look at the reviews, and I can do the maps. I can get their if they have it online, I can get their menus. So I'm not seeing how this is that much better.
So where Siri's limited, though, this is my dream for Siri, that I continue to dream that Siri is going to be better than Siri is, and Siri continues to disappoint me. But like Siri, I can say in my car, I'm driving along, I'm like, hey, can I find this shoe store? Great, here's the shoe store. Great, I'm going. I'm in traffic. I want to say to Siri, there's traffic on this street. Can you tell me the next way I can go around? And Siri can't do anything past telling me where things are. If I ask for time of day, if I ask something, then Siri's common response is, I can't do that while you're driving. Siri, while I'm driving is the perfect time for you to help me so that I don't have to do it while I'm driving. That is, but that's not
But
there yet.
You're talking to Siri, and I'm saying I'm looking at maps. I'm not asking Siri to do anything. I'm just opening maps, and I'm doing it all in the Maps app.
No, I'm doing it in the Maps app. That's what I'm saying. Do that while I'm driving so that I'm not doing that. One thing I will say about the pictures that they showed on Google, I like the idea, especially if I'm able to drive and they're able to say, let me reroute you to a better drive or something like that. That's what I really need when I'm driving. What I need when I'm driving is, hey, I hit a bunch of traffic. What's an alternative route from this point? That's what I want to be able to do. These graphics that Google is starting to show are like a mini animated movie. And that I do not want in my car. I don't need those maps to be any clearer than what they are now, because we already have drivers who can't watch the road. I don't need them to be looking at their mini movie that is like these animated buildings that are so beautiful and
That's really
3D
interesting.
rendered.
I hadn't I hadn't thought of that aspect of it. It's really interesting. I mean,
It's super distracting.
It's visually, yeah, but it's visually, it is beautiful. I wonder if that's a concern, if it's going to be distracting.
Part of it is if whether your car has, as our new car, we have a brand new car, and it has this panel up in front and it puts stuff on it. So you could have that nice big, I mean, it's about the size of an iPad. And that's very distracting. Yeah, Tony.
Yeah.
I was just going to say maybe it's not for the current drivers. Maybe it's for the future when they're driverless
It's the
cars.
bots. It's for the bots.
Wait, do you mean
I'm just
autonomous
wondering.
driving? Is that what you mean? Because you don't really
Yes,
need this when
yes,
you're in an
yes.
autonomous vehicle. You don't need directions
So
because it's built in.
Well, I mean, in terms of it being such a pretty video that's going on, maybe it's not for the driver.
For the
True.
person in the back. Gotcha. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
I did see my first Waymo in Bellevue yesterday. So they're coming north.
And
Did you drive in it?
Well,
catch 'em at the
I've only,
border.
I've ridden them in San Francisco, but they are now up here in the Pacific Northwest. So Waymo, the autonomous driving Jaguar with a really cool screens, and it will ask you, what kind of music do you want? But once you use it multiple times, it gets to know you. And so when it, again, in the hospitality of a thing, it knows you so well, it will automatically bring your music up when you walk in. Hello, Sky.
I'm so not interested.
How was your day?
I
And the steering
started,
wheel is doing the thing the steering wheel will do without somebody behind it. It's very bizarre, but wonderful.
Creepy? Is that the word you were looking for? It's creepy?
No, it's just different. And this is like, I thought of when Dave was talking about this interface. He was going, oh, I don't know if I like this interface. And it's like, well, it's different. And consequently, I do remember reading, why is Google's pages all white? Because originally they didn't have engineers to figure out how to make the pages colorful, and the processing took more, it was a heavier lift to put color on the pages, but we got so used to Google white pages. Now we're stuck with it.
but now it's the aesthetic. I just, Lois, Richard Wells has given you a little present. How do I turn off, summarize this email button? There's the URL.
Oh, there's the URL.
Yeah, I'll share it with you. It's in Mukana. But there you go.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Good catch.
The
Fantastic.
day is done. We have solved a problem.
We have solved a problem.
Cider for everybody.
Well, I'm excited to see what the Maps uses. I've always jumped between Google Maps and Waze, because Waze, even though Google bought Waze and they've integrated a lot, I still find that Waze has more of that original functionality, which is fantastic.
Way more
The lovely,
annoying. Yeah.
well, it is annoying, but it's way more useful to know the real-time situation. Because more than once
Yes.
I've had a navigation tool take me to a construction site and then say rerouting and take me back to the construction site. So I kind of go, I couldn't get out of an airport one time. It just kept putting me in the area where the hangars were. So I turned it off, found my own way out, and turned back on again. But that was the early days. These things are a lot more clear now. And I think Waze is a crowdsourced. So people who are having trouble, they'll tell you, don't go on this route, because and they'll put red X's on
Yeah.
when things are held up by an accident or something. So I don't know how Google could do that in real time.
I love when it talks back and says, no, you're the dumb one. No, you're the dumb one.
I dislike Waze, not because it wouldn't function. It would function if it had logical thinking, but at certain times it will take a lot of people off the freeway, go down backcountry roads, come into our town, come back on the freeway. They have not gained one moment, but they have messed up our little town.
Am I the only one who uses Apple Maps then? Because I actually really
Oh.
I
like
use
Apple Maps.
That's not
I-
Waze.
I actually really think that now Apple Maps of a long time ago and Apple Maps of today, I really
they've
think they've done
changed,
some work. They've done some work on Apple Maps, and I really find the directions of how they get you to where I really like it a lot, and I like it better than Google. I'm sorry.
They're
You
pretty.
don't have to be sorry.
I really like them.
Yeah.
I use
They just
Apple
never give
Maps
me
when
good
I'm
directions.
driving, and I guess my situation is probably not as traffic loaded as you guys, but I use Siri to tell me on Apple Maps to change direction or take a different route, and it does. It gives me 3 choices, and I say I'll take that
Yep.
one.
Do you remember
So,
triptychs?
Oh
do.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I love triptychs from AAA. I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
I drove cross country once and used a triptych
Thomas
the whole
Guide.
way.
I was
For
a
those
driver.
of you out there who are younger
go for
than
it.
we are, a triptych was a bunch of pieces of paper all bound together. Each little piece had a map, and you would go from
It
this
had a
one to this
piece
one
of the
to
map.
this one.
It was
and
basically a map for
follow
people who
on your
couldn't figure
road.
out how to refold a real map.
How
And
to
so
fold
they
a
No,
map.
it was
That's right.
basically
put it
It was
into
a map
It
book.
was much more
Yeah.
precise than that.
it was
There
the
was
Thomas
that
Guide
was.
without flipping from page to page.
There you go.
And you
So-
would go down to the AAA office and you would say, I'm going from here to here. And they say, oh, we'll make you a triptych. It was
Wait,
one
do
of
The
they
those.
still
London
have
book,
them?
the London Maps book
They
is
make
still
it-
one of the most popular books in England. Finding your way around London is weird.
They still have it.
It's old.
I think London will be around for a long time still.
And the taxi drivers had to learn that before they could be
Yeah,
a
they had
driver.
to memorize it.
Cabbies.
Yeah.
Crazy.
They still have it, but now it's on their app.
They do have an app, yeah.
Yeah,
that would
But the
make
book
sense.
itself, tour sold by the book. Yeah.
But they're
I still have my
website
Thomas
is not
Guide. I
open.
could go from one page 132 to H7 on 157 in the middle of driving.
All right, we have lost our way, my friends. Let's
There you go. That's a good map.
All
reference.
these
I like
maps?
that.
To the
That on the board.
1990s and start over.
But wait,
Who
do I
would
have
we
a
be if we
ba-dum-bum
didn't?
yet?
Come
Hold
on.
I don't think I have any sound. Do I have a
That is the
ba-dum-bum?
show, Dave. What do you think?
No, I don't have a bum-bum. That's a.
It's got a cheer.
I got to cheer. Okay, here's my my opening question for you. Are we watching the internet evolve? Is this a natural growth and change of the internet, or are we watching the economic model that made the open web possible start to break? Because people are using the web drastically differently than they ever have before. And I'll give one silly, tiny, stupid example of that,
Itty bitty.
which is connected to this bigger idea of how we're given answers rather than the encouragement
Discovery.
to ask better questions. So here it is. When I say to someone, I come from the era of just go to www.whatever.com or whatever.com / or / whatever. Nobody knows how to type in a URL anymore. Because
Oh, I
ever since
disagree.
we've had the Omnibox or the Unibox, they go up to the top and I say, type in the rundown show at the rundown.show, and they'll type in the space rundown space show, and they'll search for it. And then hopefully it will come, the answer will come, the link you want will come up as the first one, and you click that. We've created more work for ourselves by not knowing how to effectively use this tool. But maybe the tool needs to adapt to the way that we're using it. And maybe we're in this moment where the internet as we've known it, as we've always used it, is just not going to work anymore. I'm going to go to Tony, then I'm going to Lois, and then I'm going to someone else. Tony, take it.
So I look at this as the way things are evolving, it is not necessarily for us. And by that, what I mean is that younger people will be able to utilize the shortcuts that work for them. You know, we are legacy people, that we're older people who have had the opportunity to have our hands in the past and also be able to participate in this great technology wave that's coming. But the things that we are sort of the load that we're carrying, they're not going to need to carry it because the technology for them, just like a young person, extremely young person, can pick up somebody's phone and know how to use it, and someone my age might be struggling with how to use the phone. I think that that is kind of the way that technology is going to move forward, and particularly the internet as it currently exists and what it ultimately will be in the future.
Let's go to Lois. Thank you.
Okay. So I was going to say something until you said something which I disagree with. You said that you give people the URL and they don't know what to do with it. I think that is not true. I certainly have seen lots of people who were able to type in a URL and get there. Now, I I was involved with the internet before the World Wide Web existed. Let's put it that way. And the World Wide Web, as we know it, and by the way, you don't have to put 3 W's in front of any domain name. It is something that was created so that we could have images and we could have links. Before that, you had to know exactly where the information was so that you could go and FTP the file to get the file. And we got links, then we got pictures, and then we got much more stuff. So I think that the internet has changed. It started out with people making websites in order to use it like a brochure. In other words, you'd hand a brochure, a piece of paper to somebody about your company, or what was your, you had a business card and it said where you were and what your stuff was and that sort of thing. And this was just an expansion of that. And there were a lot of people, I would say when we started, it was most people who were not in business. They were not trying to make money by selling something. They were either having a personal interaction with their families or their neighbors or their clubs or whatever, or they were enthusiastic about a subject and they wanted to make that information available to everybody. And so when we got this assignment today, I went and I looked up what domains exist and what percentage of the domains have which domain names. So it comes down to .com, which is a commercial entity, is 41.6% of all the domains in the world. Well, that's okay. And then there's .shop, online text store, all those other things. And this is at the end of 2025. So all told, if you combine all those things that sound like they're businesses, you're up to about 53%. So that's half of all the domain names in the world. That's pretty amazing. But then you think about, we have non-governmental organizations and personal websites and non-commercial blogs and educational things and all that other stuff. But then there's the hidden ones, and that is 33% of all the domains end in a country code. So in the US, we got the bandwagon going and we got to say .com for commercial. Well, if you had the exact same company and you had it in the UK, you didn't get to say .com. You got .co.uk. So the suffix that showed you what country it was in sort of masks what those domains are. Are they commercial? Are they non-commercial? When we first started, there was .mil, .gov, the things that existed before the World Wide Web. Then we got individuals could buy a domain. That's when the .coms got started. And .com was the suffix. So I bought my domain. I'm not commercial, but that's what was available. So I think that we don't know how much of the stuff that's going on in the web is business related and is going to be inconvenienced or damaged by not getting click-throughs to their website, and how much is information that the people who want that information out there don't really care if somebody comes to their website or they get it someplace else because they're just an enthusiast about bird watching or the church or whatever. So when we're talking, let's let's keep in mind, we have commercial and non-commercial.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up. I think though, and if I'm being honest, I don't really know enough about this to have an informed thought, but I'm going to share an uninformed thought. And that is that, I have a .com. Well, I have a whole bunch of .coms also, and none of them are businesses. I didn't buy it because it's
Right.
commercial. I bought it because that's the one that most
That's
people know.
was available.
That's what you
no,
bought.
It's not even that that's what's available. It's very often what I've been doing lately. So I'm building all these little apps, right? And because it just makes everything work easier if I have a custom domain name for each app. But I don't want to buy .coms for all of them because frankly, it's like $30 or $25 to buy a .com, but I can get a .online for $2.99 on Hover. So I've just been buying up all these .onlines or .whatevers just because my point is that I'm not sure that you're slicing and dicing between commercial and non-commercial is really that black and white. I think there's a lot of .com folks that are not
commercial.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also think that you are perhaps undervaluing the importance of traffic referrals from search engines. That is the economy of the internet. And that fundamental economy is just breaking. All right, I got Dave, Sky, and Tamara. Dave, take it away.
I wanted to distinguish between the internet as the infrastructure and the web as an access portal. So the app to find your way through the internet has become the web. But there's many other ways to use the internet and transfer data on the internet and engage with other people on the internet, which is what we're doing right now, without being in a web environment. So we're using an app that isn't a web app. It's available through the web, but it also directly operates as an app. And I think we're seeing a transformation from everyone thinking the internet is Google or Facebook. Oh, geez, we're having trouble now with what words everybody's appropriated for their commercial enterprise. But all these domains fade into the background when you have apps that directly access their own little servers, their own little data centers. And then the internet itself is the connecting lines between them. And that is owned in the US by commercial and cellular companies and cable companies to transfer all of our data back and forth. But up here and in some other countries, it's government owned. So the internet is funded and owned and operated by a government agency. But at the same time, they let commercial access like they do for roads. They build a road and they don't care who uses it or who rides and whether the trucks are carrying, munitions or food. So I think, we're probably at the end of the web. I'm going to sort of declare that. There is the last page of the internet was introduced in 1969 and persists to this day as the last page of the internet. And it was a parody of why people thought the web was so important. I also think Tim Berners-Lee wanted to share research. He wanted researchers to have linked lists that would get them to the things they wanted to know what somebody is working on, and also to be able to post their own internet stuff so that you could find their research. But that when he let it loose on the internet, it was a case of these are the things Dave is interested in. And it was a great big list of links that Dave has visited and thinks you should find. And we were sharing it that way. So we've always wanted to use it for sharing. And I think we're getting to the point where we've lost the command line interface of it. And we're now sharing directly on Instagram or through platforms or in chats. And we don't have to have a URL to do that. I open up my WhatsApp, look at the people I've got connections with and the phone numbers that they're on. And then I can either phone them or text them or send them a picture of my kid. So in the sense that the web was the way to get through everything, and it was the car we drove at the time, we're now driving a different kind of truck. And I think it's an F-150 because they're the hottest selling. So. Oh, Dave, you're off.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You know what you were making me think of when you were talking about, us no longer having to go to the destination site because the information is taken and given to us, is that we've had that for a long time through APIs, right? I can make I use it right now. I can make an API call to
That
X,
looks at the
Y, or
weather,
Z.
yeah.
The difference is that people can charge for that. Like they can still make money even though folks aren't going to their site directly because I'm paying them so that I can bring the information to them. And this sort of goes back to the conversation, a couple conversations we've had about LLMs and training and using things that they're not paying for and all of that, because what they're doing, what we now have is an internet where no one needs to get paid, because except maybe the LLM itself, the open AIs, the Anthropics, because
Google's always been free. But the customer was the product, wasn't it? Every search is now on the record.
But that
And
wasn't the
if you're in a
intention.
court case, they want to look back in your searches to see if you're a legitimate guy. And now here in Canada, one of the big stories, of course, is we can't cross the border unless we show them our phone and look up whether or not we've been on any dangerous sites in the past 3 months. And if we have been, we're not allowed in the country. So we don't take a phone into America anymore because they'll want to look at it at the border. This has been going on for about a year now. So I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that there's a consideration that it is always the customer. I am the product, that they want to mine me for information that could be useful to other people. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe these videos that we do here are going to be useful to future generations where they wondered, what is the history of the internet and when did it end?
Yeah. Sky, go for it.
Oh, my conversation was so 5 minutes ago. But no, it was with regards to Lois. I mean, the rabbit trails we go on the show is awesome. I love this community. Just need more scotch. But Lois, to your point of something having a certain identity and that we identify with it, and the .com of a thing, that was the origin. And yes, I have skygleason.com. I've got clappingtreesmedia.com because I was the early adopter. But we still watch films. But as we know, celluloid is not how we capture and tell stories. That is broadcast in a variety of distribution points. Used to be we all gathered someplace that had a big giant screen and we all ate popcorn together. Well, now we sit at home in front of our 80-inch digital LED screen because what used to be $10,000 is now $350 at Costco. So again, the modification, I do remember, Dave Troutman, your point of the information superhighway. Now I feel like I'm saying it like Lois does. So
you probably know what Gopher was.
And we had that chat just before. Go ask Jeeves. So at the beginning of things, and then the commercialization of how do we make money from this, and then the algorithm that is now telling everybody you must go here. And again, to Troutman's point, I hate the word free as a metaphor because yes, we are the product. So that we are stuck in, are things going to change? Kind of gets like, they're going to change faster than we're used to. I don't know if I said it on the show yet, but in preparation for this, I went back and said, how long did it take to go from horses to automobiles? And of course, according to Gemini, it said, 50 years before it went from novelty to normal. And I asked, so in comparison to Google, and they said, about 5 years. It went from novelty to normal. So in the rocket ship experience that we are glued and grabbing on and hanging on to, is it going to change question is like, I think that's last week's question, Dave.
Yeah, but where I was going with it, then I'm coming right to you, Tamara.
Please.
Where I was going with it is not, is it going to change? Of course it's going to change. My question is this an evolution or is this a breaking of the original model? That's really what I was going. Tamara, go ahead.
This isn't the original model. That is the thing. The original model was much more of a subscription model. The idea was we're going to give you a little bit for free and then you're going to want to pay for it. We're going to give you a little bit of Facebook for free and then you're going to love it so much that you're going to spend $9.99 a month to do it. And what happened in the world of the internet is that the people said, actually, I don't need Facebook. I'll just go create another thing. And we saw that with MySpace and then Facebook. And then the model changed. It was like, if we can't charge people a subscription or have them buy into something, then we're going to have to find money in different ways. And that's how clicking happened. And that's how we became more of a product. That wasn't the original intention for it. But what we're seeing now is, you're right, that model is shifting in the same way that broadcast TV's model is shifting, and the streaming model is completely different for how we're making money. But we're also seeing us go back to many more things are going to a subscription, including regular people. I can have a subscription to, my membership, and you would click to pay for that subscription. So I'm not sure that we're seeing like, oh my gosh, this is a breakdown of the model. It's a breakdown of the corporate model to figure out how we're going to get people, by paying for clicks. But that wasn't the original intention of the model to begin with. So of course we're seeing an evolution. I don't think it's necessarily a bad evolution, but what we saw in the early to mid 90s of people projecting what the World Wide Web was going to look like in terms of how we're going to make money, what we saw is tons of people were putting in lots and lots of money on the hopes and dreams of what it could possibly be. And it, in fact, did not end up being those things for quite a long time. And we're seeing that now with all of the stuff that we're seeing with AI. People are putting money into it. They're hoping it's going to be something. Do we really think people are going to pay $100 a month to use it? Possibly not. I mean, I think that we're creating a business model that we think might work and that might or might not work.
More and more people, though, are. I remember when, Twit, Leo Laporte's network. I remember when they've gone through if you've been watching them for 20 years, they've gone through so many different changes. And really the most recent and the most profound one was a few years ago when ad revenue really just dried up for podcasts and they started Club Twit. And he's talked quite a bit about how this whole subscription model is what has kept them alive. Now, I don't know what the exact number is. It's something like 20 to 30,000 subscribers, which is amazing, thank goodness. But he's honest that that's a drop in the bucket compared to his listeners. I do think though, when ChatGPT came along with the subscription model, Apple has now bundled all of their major design apps into a subscription. That is the way of the future, I think.
But that was the original model, right? So even network television we're looking at the advertising model is no longer working. And that is really what this click-through model is. That is an advertising model. And that's what's not working, right? Do I think there's going to be a new generation of what advertising model looks like? Sure. Because we've got a lot of people who are looking at how are we going to make money off of people in any way possible, right? So we're looking at ad-based ChatGPT, models that if you don't want that, you pay more. My mom is complaining, and I know Lois has complained about this before, of like my game on my phone keeps asking me for money, like keeps advertising to me. I'm like, well, you can pay $9.99 and just own it outright. And she's like, I don't want to do that. So I don't think it's dead. It's gone, but I think it will show up in different ways.
So I let me just push back a little, and then Lois, I'm coming right over to you. And the pushback is that I don't think it's just about ad revenue. Google, the way that Google works, I don't understand the secret sauce, but to a layperson is your SEO goes up in part, your search engine optimization, goes up in part because of connections that are made, because of linkages. That's why if you have a blog and you can link to this page and someone else links to your page, and like there's sort of a social aspect to search engine optimization. because
But that's
we're all
a
linking to one another.
layperson does not know the word search engine
No, I understand that, but
optimization.
here's my point.
So what I'm saying is there's way more lay people in the world than people who understand. So you're right. I get what you're saying, but I don't think that we're looking at we're talking about two different things. We're talking about the end of how money is made.
No.
And
I'm talking about the end of the internet as we know it. And what I'm saying is that when we don't need these anymore, when those connections aren't necessary anymore, then I don't know how sites survive. When the answer never needs to be researched, when the answer never needs to be discovered because it's handed to you on a silver platter by a very nice sounding British woman on my phone. Why do I search? Why do I go to a site at all?
But I think you're missing the other piece of the internet that Lois talked about, right? There's a whole infrastructure to the internet that was how it was even prior to World Wide Web, when you were, connecting through IRC and connecting through like-minded people, finding like-minded people. So if I have something that is a super interest of mine, I can put that onto the web. I'm not caring if that makes money or not.
You can put it on the
So I
web,
think
but no one's going to see it because no one's going to go to the web. No one's going to need to go to the web. Lois, go ahead. Prove me wrong.
Okay. The thing that I think is missing in your analysis, David, is that when I, as a normal layperson, go and look for something, frequently I am just wanting the answer to a question. I'm looking for the schedule or the whatever, or what year did this happen. In the olden days, I'd go to encyclopedia, open it up, see if I could find it. Then came the World Wide Web, so I would go to whatever site seemed appropriate that might have it, and I would find it. I'm not intending to go to a particular site because all I have to do is answer one question. That has not changed how I am going to interact with various websites. If I get the answer to the question, I stop. If I'm interested in the topic, then I'll go and look at somebody's website. So I don't think there's as much of a difference coming from the lay side as you think.
I don't disagree with what you just said. I think that there are lots of times when I go and I'm looking for an answer and I just want the answer, period, full stop. I think that, excuse me, that in giving us exact, I think that someone once told me that God is the best therapist because God, because a really good therapist doesn't hear what you say. They hear what you don't say.
You don't say.
And I don't know why I brought God up for that, but that forget the God part. And so when I'm searching for something, yes, I want an answer, but sometimes what I don't search for is even more important. I'll give you one example. And this actually was with an AI, and then I'll go to Dave and Sky. I was frustrated about something, and I remember what it was. It was about AI, actually. I had posted something that I had created about AI, and I got some really negative comments. And of course, I'm an idiot, so I took it personally and all of that. But I went to chat and I said, all right, here's the situation. I want to respond. I want to write something. And now I've taught my chat to challenge everything that I say. I always wanted to hear, and it did, and it was right. It was so right. If it had just given me the answer I was asking for, it would have said, here's what you should write. But instead, I found something I didn't even know I was looking for, which turned out to be so much more important. And so that's the piece of this puzzle that we've been focusing a lot on the finances, which are really, really important. For me, the bigger loss is the serendipity of discovery, of finding something new that we're losing. Maybe it's not what the web is supposed to be, but it's what it has been for me for at least the past 10 years.
And that's on you. That's on you. That's how you use it, how you
Well, I
interact.
would argue that that's how a lot of people use it. And I would argue that that's a beneficial way to use it. It's not what you want all the time, but I'm not
I
sure
don't
that
think
I'm
the
ready to throw
internet
that
is-
baby out with the bathwater. Let me
And
get
That's how I
David.
feel about the card catalog.
Internet is not ending. The internet is not ending.
Listen to the two of you. You're like Tamara and Lois, or it's like they're angry at me or something. I love this. Dave and Sky, go ahead.
I worry that the end of the internet is the end of new information. That
Yeah.
who's making the new information? Are we going to get AIs to just remanufacture the information we already have and pretend that it's new? We have lots of people who dedicate their lives to finding the answers to questions, and we're exploiting that to the point where people feel they don't even have to get into that. I don't have to be a medical researcher anymore because AI is going to do that. And I don't have to be a scientist who discovers how tectonic plates influence the development of mountains and where the oil is and all the stuff. We're not. I fear that we're not making enough new information. We're remanufacturing information and spreading it around. But to the credit of some organizations, they're creating a new platform, which is a subscription service to somebody who knows something. And this is like Blue Sky and the others and Mastodon and all the rest. The people who are actually making new information or considering our current situation in new ways and giving us probably new strategies of how to survive in it are going offline, and they're going directly to an audience. They don't want to attract the biggest audience ever and be an influencer. They just want somebody to read their research papers and discuss them with you in a formal way. And I think that was what the original internet Tim Berners-Lee wanted to have, but he let it loose on the commercial people, and we couldn't rein it in after that. But I think the evolution that we talked about way at the beginning, are we looking at that evolution? Yes, we always are. It's a continually transforming process, and we're re-refining it all the time. And the internet of, my son's life is going to go through that too. And if I were to come back to life 50 years after leaving and look at the internet, I wouldn't recognize it because it would be operating completely for the purposes of those people and their needs. So I don't think we're looking at the death of the internet as such.
Right.
We're looking at the death of various particular platforms that served us in different ways, but now we don't need those services because now they're recombined. And I think Mr. Thompson talks about this. Aggregation is the commercial aspect of the internet, getting audience together and finding eyeballs for messages. By the way, I want to just take a minute of your time to tell you about this invention I just discovered. It has no battery, and it's filled with useful information,
What
but you don't
is
have to
that?
actually plug it in or anything. It's an amazing
It's that
device, and I
strange
just
looking
want everyone to use it.
small
And
tablet
you can
you
buy
have
one
there.
for a very small price. I think this one was $12. So for only $12, you can have a anyway.
You know
So
what, Dave?
this is the kind
Forever.
of thing.
I just want to highlight something you said that I promise we'll keep going around. But I just want the
Sure.
first piece that you brought up, it was really fascinating to me. This idea that no new information is going to be created, or it could hypothetically, because you're right.
But your access to it might disappear.
Right. We've talked a lot about how not all AI, I don't mean to minimize it, but AI at this point is regurgitating what it has learned from us. It's not necessary. I was gonna say it's
Synthesizing new
I was gonna
information
say it's not creating
from
anything new, but it is. But
it is. It is not creating anything
it's
new. What it's creating is a new way to look at the
Right.
old thing.
Right.
And
But that's
our brains are designed to see
the-
disconnected ideas and make a connection.
Right.
And they're not yet
But the
able to do
web
that.
was a place where people shared new ideas, and that's terrifying that we could be losing that.
And that's
a
gone.
fascinating
I
That's gone.
disagree with that.
You
Yeah,
disagree?
me too.
All right,
I
hold on.
disagree.
As
Hold
she
on,
will
wait.
again.
Hold
Yeah.
on, I got it. Let me get Sky in, and then we'll make the rounds again. This is wow.
Well,
All right, go ahead.
Again, I remember the original concept in the Wayback Machine of the lowest land, ARPA and DARPA, and they were physically trying to exchange information between universities, and then the military got in there and created the governmental version of that, so that information and science could be exchanged quickly. So the web is a ubiquitous word that we now use, just like film and these other terms, but it was physically information that was being connected. Berners-Lee himself said we had a whole bunch of silos of disparate information that are now being connected. And then he came back 25 years later and said, how do we interconnect those? So what we're finding is that the algorithm, no, the commercialized algorithm doesn't care whether we, look at cat videos or how to make a bomb. Their job is to be more efficient. So consequently, the dumbing down of the human and the critical human brain of, as you say, Troutman, pushing back is a concern of mine. And I know that's where Tony jumps in as well with that, the human, where is the human component of that when the algorithm is teaching us negative bias, because that's the fight or flight of a thing. And the research shows that YouTube, the top 4 words that are put into the title, if you want to be found, you need to make sure you put in your tags, hate, obliterate, slams, and destroys, and you will be found on the internet quickly.
That is so disgusting.
But you won't be let into the United States. Trumpman to prove that point.
That's so disgusting.
You asked.
No, I know. Tamara, I'm going to let Tony jump the line just because we haven't heard his voice. Tony, what you got? Oh, wait, we can't hear you, Tony. Unmute yourself. You muted by accident.
I'm looking at this, and I want to disagree with what Sky said in terms of the dumbing down. From this standpoint, I think that there's going to be a separation from people who are going to be able to take advantage of technology and the internet, whatever is ultimately going to be, and then there are going to be people who are not. There's just going to be a separation from people who the digital divide will continue to be a thing. However, I look at technology in a way that we will be able to jumpstart some of the things. I don't think that there's going to be a dumbing down. I don't think that there's going to be a lack of new knowledge. What I think is that we will be able to bridge new things, and that there will be a new knowledge base or challenge for us to continue to advance in terms of the way in which we think about things. And this example that I'm going to use might not be the best one, but I think that it might kind of work. And so I think even Rabbi, you mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. I think you talked about stick shift in a car. And I look at it this way. So when I first learned to drive, I learned on a stick. And after I learned how to drive, the first car I got was automatic. But then 10 years later, after I got married, I ended up getting a truck, and it was a stick shift. Well, because I learned how to drive on the stick, it was no problem for me. But someone young now, for the most part, would be extremely difficult for them to learn how to drive with a stick. They would probably scratch their head and say, why would you want to teach me how to drive with a stick, right? And I think that that's the way the internet and technology will move forward. There will be a type of graduation from the technology and the knowledge base that we are currently dealing with, from the standpoint of there's no new knowledge. Well, yeah, there will be new knowledge, because the challenge will still be out there for whatever those young people or those generations in the future have to contend with, whether it's, you know me, science fiction. So whether it's exploring space or exploring the sea, or being able to invent a transporter that really works, our science says what? That couldn't happen. Well, you ask a man from 2,000 years ago, is there the ability to be able to ride around in a vehicle and go from one place to the other and have cool air blow on you? Well, I mean, I think it's a matter of the capacity for the human mind to continue to seek the challenges that will make it. Yeah, some people can get locked in and never grow and just be stuck and just pass information, the existing information from one place to the other. But I think that the human condition is such that it strives to continue to find a challenge that it has to reach out for. We don't just be able, we can't just stay still. We can't.
I appreciate Seth Godin's comment. Historically, about 2 years ago, he said, stop trying to learn technology. Find a problem you want to solve, because technology is going to, not be the barrier to entry. So yes, find the problem you want to solve.
And the truth is, you learn one technology and it's gone by the time you actually have to use it for the next thing.
Gesundheit.
Go ahead.
But it isn't just about technology. So I come at the world pretty logical. And even in my creative endeavors, I'm still come at it from a pretty logical place. But that crashes into my creativity in a way that hits my heart a little bit, because I think, in speaking of what Tony was saying, it isn't just about even how technology functions. It isn't about what we know and what we don't know and new information versus old information. It is about the possibility of something happening. And as long as there's possibility, and as long as we have creative people who are able to think about new things, that is where we're going to thrive, and we're going to continue to grow. That's where new information is going to happen. That's where the heart of technology is happening. It's someone who goes, hey, I think we could probably do this. And then they go and do it. And so, I come at it in the same way that Tony does from science fiction, where science fiction is an extrapolation of what we have now scientifically, thinking about where it might go and where it might be. So when we're talking about the death of the internet, we're talking about very specifically business models and the way that we're using it now. Those things can all change. But I was around in, doing internet stuff in, the early 90s. And what was so fun about it was that the technology was giving us something new, and that was exciting. But the exciting part was like going into the basement at NYU and finding all these geeks in a room who were thinking about how they might tell stories differently in this new space. It was going into another place, where people figured out how to, in a chat room, hey, we're going to meet in and talk about these different things. And as long as people are getting together and meeting and talking about the things that they care about, then we will have new information and we will have new knowledge. So what we're talking about is ultimately a generation. Are we going to get stupider because we're not going to be willing to have those conversations? And I may be so naive, but I believe there will be people who will never stop having those kind of conversations.
Sky, did you want to jump back? Or Lois, I think also.
No, I value this conversation again, because we all bring our own history. We all bring our own unique experience. We all bring our own perspective, theologically, ecologically, economically. So the chemical thing of this is that, again, that we can have this conversation. And so you proved your own point, Tamara, that at least some of us want to think critically and not push back against whatever AI is telling us it wants to tell us. But there are, and to other people's points, Lois, you say you call yourself a civilian, but you know intimate details about technology. Mm-hmm. And so this is, I think you are a little above the standard.
All right. So I want to come back to something that was said very early on. Let us remember that there's a difference between the internet, which is how we connect to the physical devices in the world, and the World Wide Web, which is the overlay on the internet that we use to communicate. Now, when the World Wide Web was very young, there were a lot of things on there that people didn't really like. There was, pornography. There was, all this stuff that was risky and scary. And somehow or other, that has been wiped out. I don't know where it went. Maybe there's someplace else that those folks have gotten to. But things change, and they continue to change. My question for us here is, when AI is giving you an answer, what sources are it using? What information is being prioritized in giving you that answer or that summary or description? What perspectives are being excluded? And then how is the answer being presented to you? Does it encourage you to think for yourself, or does it tell you what the truth is? And we'll stop right there. So that part of it, I think we have some worries about. I don't think that the internet, the technological part, is going away ever. As far as the World Wide Web, I think there will continue to be lots of places, even if all of the commercial entities stopped being profitable, there would still be a whole lot of stuff on the open web.
I'd
Dave?
like to point out that Tamara's remarks have created a very interesting conversation on the chat.
Yeah, I'm very
And
worried
it had to do with
about this, actually.
finding
About Elvish or what?
finding the no, it was finding people in the basement who had like mind and interest and were enthusiastic, and I think that made me think that the future of the internet is taking communities of interest and turning them into communities of action. And I think OH is one of those things where we needed to get a bunch of people together to help find our way through a crisis. And then it produced a community of action, which actually goes out and helps people every morning. And it's a volunteer operation. It didn't require any .com to do it. It has a .global. It invites people from everywhere, no matter what language you speak, will invite you in. This, I think, is where the internet hoped to be. And now with the fact that we can do this with video and everybody has gear that can do it, and yes, it leaves some people out because they're not able to speak English, or don't have access to the internet, or don't have a camera and all that stuff. But it is a whole new direction that things are going. And what we're doing now is novel, but it will be normalized, as the web was with Google search and the rest. And Google was the internet for everybody. I had an experience just last weekend, and I was dealing with a fellow I've been coaching and how to be on the YouTube, and we're talking on Zoom. And then I suddenly realized the reason he's not taking my instructions on how to turn on his mic is that he's in the browser and not in the app. And I'm giving him app instructions, and I forgot he's in the browser. So next time I'll pick up the phone, tell him, don't open the browser, open the app, and then he'll be okay. I can coach him. But all of that will fall away when the new generation coming along, where all this is normal, picking up the phone vertically and talking to your friend, totally normal now. And I watch people walking through the mall talking to someone in Saudi Arabia. It's like they're having just a contact and regular community action and community interaction. And that's the hope I have for the future of the internet. It may not be dead, but maybe it's giving birth to new things and we're just not recognizing it yet. We're paying too much attention to the AI baby and not all the other newborns that are coming through.
Well, and to me, that's the core of the spirit of what the internet always wanted to be and where it's at its best, right? Is finding like-minded people who are connected through distance
Right.
and time through these things. And that was prior to us becoming the tools, the product. That is what the core of the internet was. And that was what the
Well,
hope and dream of the internet was. And I don't think
we're
that's
s-
going to die even if corporations go away.
Right. This is what the Minneapolis resistance was built on, that they could contact each other, that they could
Right.
share and coordinate and all of that. And that is where the power of
one
it
of the
is.
greatest challenges that Ukraine has faced and that Iran has faced, because their internets have been either shut down or so severely limited that that they can't do exactly that. I'm so grateful to all of you, and I want to just give a quick shout out to Vic, who threw a question in. Vic, I want you to know that I passed your question along to Tony, and so now I'm officially telling you, Tony, also. I shared it with you in Discord because I think it would actually be a great question for our education panel next week. So I hope you're okay, Vic, with that. I didn't ignore it. It's a really, really great question. But it's not just Vic. It's Ron and Kilobyte is here.
Pedro and Roscoe
and Roscoe, and I haven't even gotten over here. Courtney Gooden is here. Pedro, Richard Wells, Roscoe, some Elvish people apparently. Peter Sargent,
Mandavan.
Who?
Mandy Van.
Mandy Van. Stephen Love
Mandy
is here.
Van Cleve, Mandy Van Cleve.
Oh, there you go.
Really, really lovely having all of you here. So glad that you're a part of our evening or morning or afternoon, whatever it is for you. It's evening for me, and really grateful.
And all those people who don't bother putting their names in, so we don't know who you are.
Yes, I'm sorry we're not
Thank you.
saying your names out, but you're watching, and we're glad that you're here. You can learn more about us. Someone actually pointed out, by the way, that we should talk about. So the URL for this show, the rundown.show. .show is another ending that you can get, which no one ever uses. And I've done zero SEO on that site. So I think I'm the only one who ever goes there. But if you do want to learn more about this show, if you want to join the panel, if you want to suggest ideas for future shows, head on over to the rundown.show, join the Discord, hit me up on Facebook or wherever. What's wrong, Sky?
You've got a website called the Torah Tech Guy as well. And there's a web that I didn't know.
I have a
I
problem.
didn't know.
I have a problem.
You-
My problem
all new.
is that I'm a visual learner. And so whenever I have an idea for anything, I build a website. And so I have hundreds of websites because they help me conceptualize. But yeah, Torah Tech, that's like my main site. Yeah, sure.
And the Rundown Show is right there.
And
And
it's
everything.
right-
I learned stuff.
It's right.
We
See,
are
you know,
internet
You
Natalie
learn
Webb.
stuff from the web. There you go. I'm killing this stream, guys. We could go all night, but I'm really grateful to all of you. Have a lovely night. We'll see you next week on the Rundown. Bye.